Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Hi, baby. Good morning. And some water. Get agua. See? Okay. It's going to be a hot one. Come. "45 days ago, I walked out of the building of a place that I thought I was going to retire in. And instead, I was told that my last day was going to be effective immediately. I was escorted out of the building. I had to turn in my phone, my badge, and was escorted out. 45 days ago. To say that I'm upset about it would be a lie. I am not upset. I actually feel very relieved. I feel at peace. I feel liberated, and I am excited. I'm excited for what's to come. You know, last week I sat here and I shared with you guys my story. I will link that video for you below. But I shared my story, and what came out of it was something I did not expect. I recorded that video just giving you guys my experience, what happened, because 2 years ago when I started this channel, I shared with you the first time that I got laid off from the same company, by the way, and all the feelings that I had, the depression, and how this experience was so different. And I wanted to live up to my promise to all of you. If you are returning, welcome back. If you are new here, welcome to my channel, Life with Lissette. And I wanted to make sure that I honored my promise, not just to myself, but to all of you, to be, to be a source of inspiration and motivation. And I want to make sure that we fulfill that. Even though there are days that are going to be harder, I don't want to ever give the impression that things are perfect and everything is great. For now, they are. And I'm enjoying that. I am literally living in the moment. I'm living in the present time, and I show up every single day. And I want to share with you the highs and the lows, right? Everything that happens when you lose a job, because it is significant. I find that there are more of us after uploading that video. Here's what I did not expect. I did not expect to receive over 500 comments and climbing. And while I would love to respond to all of them, I just physically can't. I'm just one person. But I am reading them, and I will say this: you too are changing lives. You are also changing other people's perspectives by sharing your stories, sharing your struggle. And that's what this community is about. You know, we're so tired of perfection and everything just looking aesthetically perfect that we've lost touch with reality. And that's one thing that I promised myself that I would bring to my channel, is just a little bit of reality and what real life looks like. And for those of us that are beyond 50, like myself, I'm 56, and have lost our jobs at this point in our lives, you know, we could sit here and be doom and gloom and think that our life is over. But I am here to testify and to share with you that that is the furthest thing from the truth. We are thriving and we are living our best lives. And if I can do anything through my series, through my videos, through my words, is to tell you that you too will get past this. You too will get through this. And what's waiting for you on the other side is beautiful and amazing and wonderful. And what I know for sure after my first layoff and now my second is that we have to go through this. We have to go through this to get on the other side. And what's waiting for us on the other side is nothing short of amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And I want that for you, because that is what I claim. That is what I pray and profess and claim every single day for me and for my family. So I wanted to start off with that. And to all of you that have left me a comment, thank you so much. You're not just helping me go through this process, but you are also helping others. And by sharing your story, and even though you may be in a difficult position right now and you may be struggling, I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. The comments prove that. You know, my video last week generated over 500 comments. And while I can't reply to all of them, and that's really breaking my heart, I just need you to know it's breaking my heart, because I pride myself in responding to the comments, but with that many, I just can't. But what I do want you to know is that I am reading them, and I want you to read them. If you are finding yourself desperate, doom and gloom, sad, upset, you know, scared of this whole situation, if you are in the same situation that I'm in of being unemployed, I encourage you to read the comments, because this community is top notch. It is top tier. It knows what to say and what to do to help you and uplift you and bring you joy and encouragement and positive vibes and prayers. You know, I believe in God, you believe in who you want to believe in, but this community is top tier. And I encourage you to lean in and read the comments and be a part of it. Be a part of our community. If you are returning, welcome back. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. You know, last week I did a video on getting laid off at 56. I was fired from my job a second time. I was originally laid off from this company 8 years ago, decided to go back into a different department, different capacity, higher role, loved it for the first 4.5 years, went through some manager changes and it went to hell, and here we are. And while I'm not surprised that I got laid off, I am surprised that they still haven't learned how to do it appropriately. But that's for them to figure out. What I can share with you is I am feeling better than what I had anticipated. I am doing so much better in comparison to the first round. I will get into those details in a little bit, but wanted to share with you kind of what has been happening, right? Because that first video, I shared the first 36 hours of what transpired, but there's a lot that has happened since then. And I want to share a little bit of, I want to shed some light into some of that. But in order for this video not to be 5 hours long, I've created some notes on some index cards because I want to stay succinct. I want to stay on topic, and I want to make sure that I hit all these points because they're important to me. And I know that they will be important to you. But if you take anything away from this video today, I want it to be that you feel encouraged. I want it to be that you feel motivated and inspired. And I want you to know that this is not the end of your story, that this is not how things end, that there is life after whatever it is that you were, you know, there is, there is life and there's more to live for. And I want that to be the takeaway from this video for you. As someone that lost their job at 48 and now again at 56, you would think, right, that this is the end of the chapter for me. No, it's not. And that's because I am now bringing 56 years of experience, 56 years of knowledge that I will not allow any person, place, or thing to make me feel smaller, to make me feel like that's not adding value and that I'm not worthy of more, okay? So let's get into what has happened or what happened after the first 36 hours. First and foremost, you know, I wanted to make sure that my colleagues, there were 3 of us on our team and all 3 of us were impacted. They're in a different situation than I'm in. And a lot happens when you are terminated. So I say terminated because our positions were eliminated immediately and all of our things were turned off immediately. So we were escorted out of the building, and again, within 40 minutes, 3 of us lost our jobs. Unlike the first time around where I was told in September my last day was going to be in December, so I had time to remove myself. I had time to depart myself and kind of separate myself from the company. And I don't know which one's worse, the first way or the second way. You know, the first time it felt like forever, it was going to take too long, and I felt like I was never going to leave the company because it was so doom and gloom. And then the second time, it happened so fast that I didn't even have time to process much. So I have experiences in both, and I don't know which one's better, which one's worse. But what I will say is it's important for you to network. It's important for you to make connections with people if you enjoy them, and if you feel like you're both adding value in each other's lives. It's important for you to stay connected with people because you just never know. All right. And after I left, or after I was voluntold to leave, when you're fired, you're voluntold. You know, I wanted to check in with my colleagues and make sure they were okay. They are, single providers of their households. They are the primary providers of their households, very different than, my husband and I. We share an income and we are debt free. We don't have, we don't live above our means or anything like that. And I'm not saying that my colleagues do, but they're in a different financial situation. So for me, it was making sure that they were okay. That's just something that we did. We're a family. This team was a nucleus, and we supported each other, helped each other, and we were there. So, making sure that happened, and then following up with HR to make sure that they sent us our severance packages. They were supposed to send us the packet within 24 hours of getting laid off. So ideally that would have been Tuesday. It was Wednesday. We still hadn't received anything. We were all following up with them. By Thursday afternoon, we received the packet. We collectively decided to submit our signed copies on Tuesday, our signed severance agreements, which we did. So Monday was Memorial Day. Tuesday, we submitted our packets, and we were ideally supposed to receive our severance within 30 days of being severed from the company. Now, the packet that they provided to us was over 60 pages long. I knew it was going to be different than my first one. And, a lot of information that had to be read line by line, right? Because there are some call outs in the severance package that would implicate your severance dollars. So I needed to make sure that I read that whole document, all 60 something pages of it. I submitted it back, and part of that severance was to return office equipment. Now, I was hired during COVID, or it was 2021. We were still under COVID restrictions. So I have a lot of equipment that I had at the house, and I needed to be able to return that, but I wasn't going to drop it off, and I was not going to take it to a UPS or a FedEx or anything like that. So, part of the package was for them to come here and pick it up. And then now, some of you may be listening and saying, oh, Lissette, that's too bougie, that's too much to ask for. That is the policy of the company. And as someone that's worked with the company for 23 years, I know that this is part of something that they do. So they do offer pickups. And they sent me one shipping label, and I'm thinking, I can't return all this stuff in one shipping label. I don't have a box big enough. Are you providing me with a box? Because I don't have one. And they told me no. So instead of highlighting in the severance package what the exceptions were, I had to spend 4.5 days with an IT person at the help desk at some call center, going back and forth. And every time I submitted, something as to why I needed a bigger box, or why I needed something for whatever reason, they responded back, oh, you don't need to return that. And then I would send another email, oh, you don't need to return that. Can you just send me a list of what I don't need to return? Because if I'm looking at office equipment, I'm going to return everything that's in office equipment. Very frustrating, very annoying. And they could just make it easier by adding in exceptions of things you don't need to return. Anyhow, I returned the equipment and waited for the severance package. And I say that because, one of the things that you don't realize is, okay, now you're trying to track, when do I get my final paycheck? Well, strategically, our paycheck, we got paid on Friday, and that was technically our last paycheck because we got fired on Monday. So very strategic, very intentional, by the way. So we had to return equipment, the final paycheck. But in this period of time, right, we have a buffer. We're blessed to have a buffer, my husband and I. I don't know what the financial situations are of my colleagues, but the reality is we had no income coming in. No, from my end, right, or from their end. And if I know they're the primary providers for their home. So we still had to file for unemployment. That's a process, right? That takes days. We had to submit our severance, which we weren't going to get for 30 days. So there was no income coming in. And that was scary. That was scary. I was more afraid for them. But then you have health insurance. One thing that I did was when I left the company in 2018, I went on to my husband's insurance. So I didn't have to worry about that because I never went on their health insurance when I went back to the company in 2021. But for my colleagues, they had COBRA benefits that they needed to implement and start. And so that was an issue for them. And then other benefits. One thing that I could encourage anyone that's listening is if you are working for an employer and they're offering you part of your whole compensation package, they're offering you other benefits, 401ks, right? Retirement, medical, all these things. Never use your business email address. Only use your personal email addresses, because when situations like this come up, that's just another step, because a lot of these companies, you need to verify your identity because of fraud and other reasons. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for you to identify your, authorize your identity than if you would have just had your personal email addresses. So make sure that you only use your personal email addresses for anything that is medical, pension, whatever, right? All the benefits packages, only use your personal email addresses. And the reality that I had no more contacts for the business. My access was shut down immediately. So most of my contacts for work were on my personal cell phone. And the good thing is, though, I had a handful of folks that I have known since I started there, and I was able to reach out to them and they were able to send me some contact information. But, I didn't have access to any of my contacts for the company, and that made it a little bit more difficult, but I got it done. I would say immediately afterwards, on my way home, the overabundance of text messages and phone calls that I received and emails that I got, it was overwhelming. But that was unexpected, right? Is just reaching out, previous coworkers or coworkers that were reaching out, friends and family, because as soon as I came home within 30 minutes, I had updated my LinkedIn. So a lot of my friends and family are on LinkedIn. So they were, reaching out and sending me their condolences basically. And my response to everybody was, I'm at peace and I'm very calm. I'm actually okay that this happened. I really am. And I shared more about that in my previous video. But what I've learned is, and I never experienced this the first round because LinkedIn was very new. LinkedIn had only been around for about 1.5 years, I think, when I was terminated the first time. So, LinkedIn is part of corporate America. It's part of, and if anyone has a job, they should be on LinkedIn, right? So for me, it was very different. And I made sure that I updated my status. So recruiters started to reach out almost immediately. The DMs in my messages of LinkedIn, people sending me messages, the outpouring of support, that the kindness of people extending themselves, that I have so-and-so that works at this company. If you apply for something there, let me know. I can reach out to them and they can send you a referral. That type of stuff, recruiters literally inundating my inbox with opportunities. Like I said, the kindness of people, sharing my open to work post, commenting on my open to work posts for reach, all of those things, all of that has been such a huge help in my transition. And what I've taken away from that is to pay it forward. So now when I am intentionally on LinkedIn to network and make connections, I also forward people's open to work and I also comment for reach for them, because I know how much that has helped me. I've had several interviews already, and I know that has played a huge part. And we don't know in the network who knows who. So you probably will never know that you helped them, but the idea of paying it forward is that you did it with good intention and that someone will reap the benefits of that. So that was, all of those things were pretty unexpected for me. And I am so happy that I'm able to help someone else in that process. Anyway, Just wanted to share that. Okay. Brings me to my next point, and I shared a little bit about this earlier, is the hundreds of comments that I have gotten, not just on LinkedIn of my open to work, but also on my video from last week. Over 500 comments. There's no way that I can reply to all of them, but I am reading. I'm about 90% up to date. I haven't read any comments from last night, but I'm pretty much up to date on all of the comments. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you're not just helping me, you're helping so many people. And you sharing your story is helping you network and connect with so many people. You know, that is the beauty of these platforms and this community, is that there are people that are suffering and are going through the same thing you're going through. It gives you that feeling that you're not alone, that you're being seen and that you're being heard. And what I know for sure, based on my first experience and now this one, is that what is for you will not pass you. What God has for you, He will not let it pass you. And you have to believe that. You know, we have to go through these experiences to come to the other side, to get to the other side of it. And what's on the other side? Bigger and better. Because again, you believe in who you want to believe in. I believe in God, and He intentionally moves people, places, and things out of our way so that we can make room for bigger and better things that He has planned for us. And I want you to believe that. And the comments that people are leaving prove that over and over and over again. So thank you to all of you that have left me messages. You know, there are comments of people in their 50s and 60s. There are comments of people suffering in silence. And this has given them the forum to make them feel, again, like they are not alone, that they are part of a bigger community. And there is positivity just in that. Just in that. And you leaving a comment and someone replying to your comment with words of encouragement and positivity, it's contagious. And that, to me, is the ultimate goal of my channel. I want to be a source of inspiration, of education, and of empowerment. And if I can only help one person, then I have done my job. So thank you to all of you that leave comments, that also leave comments for other people that are sharing their stories, because it's going to be almost impossible for me to reply to everyone. So I thank you for doing that on my behalf. And let's continue to let that grow, okay? Let's not stop. Let's continue to grow in that community and to share our stories, because vulnerability is a flex. Leave your ego at the door. Leave your pride at the door. Let's continue to help each other, all right? So I would say in the past 45 days, you know, what has surprised me the most in all of it has been the sense of calm and peace that I feel. Because I no longer identify with my job. And I feel calm and peace because, number one, it wasn't performance related. It wasn't, you know, any other reason outside of a strategic business decision that they made. But I have calmness and peace because I'm not in that hustle. And I don't have to expose my brain, my eyes to that toxicity anymore. It was really starting to affect me. You know, the first 4.5 years, 4 and 3 quarters, was amazing. But once new management was hired in September, it just hasn't been the same. And it's been very toxic, very toxic. And so the calm and the peace comes from that. It's just the fact that I don't have to expose myself. I don't have to be around it. I don't have to hear it. I don't have to see it. I love it. I'm in the comfort of my home. It's a beautiful thing. Something else is the support that I have felt. The support, of course, my husband supports me and my daughters support me. I've shared, you know, how I have an amazing support system. But it's the external support that I have felt, not just on LinkedIn, but the random text messages, the random emails from folks just checking in to see how I'm doing and if they can be of any help. You know, we still live in a world where there are kind people and there are people that genuinely want to help each other. And it has taught me a lesson to pay it forward. I've always done it, but it's heightened my awareness to do it more with intention and actively, right? The reality that life can change very quickly and that you need to be prepared. If I learned anything after my first layoff in 2018 was to not live above my means, not incur debt, and to live in the moment and be grateful and feel blessed about it. And I have lived just about every single day with that mindset. You know, we are financially stable. We are in a good place. And my husband reminds me of that every single time. Because as someone that has suffered from depression, I'm not exempt from it, right? Like, it can rear its head at any moment. And my husband has a checkpoint on me every single day. If he sees me, you know, and I'm an introvert by nature, but if he sees me getting even more quiet and more into myself and really behind closed doors, he'll let me do that for a day or two, but that's about it. Then he snaps me out of it and he helps me, like, no, we can't do this. Nope, we're not. Nope, snap out of it. Let's focus. Let's re-engineer. Like, let's just get back on track. So I'm very thankful for him for that. Because it can change. It can change. And I'm so thankful that we had that experience in 2018. As bad and as awful as it was, it taught us a lot of lessons, and he knows what to look out for, and he helps me. I said this earlier, and what I've learned, and what surprised me a little, is how many people are struggling silently. And we shouldn't be. This is nothing to be ashamed of. This is nothing to feel guilty about. And I say that because that's how I felt the first time it happened to me. I felt guilt. I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I didn't want to talk about it with anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone that I was laid off, that I got fired. I didn't want to share that because I identified with my job so much that I felt people were going to look at me differently. People are going to treat me differently. People don't care about that. They want to make sure that you're okay. And they can physically see when you're not, right? And so leaving your ego and your pride at the door, I am proud to have put myself out there because, like I said, vulnerability is my flex. And if I have to be the one to put myself out there as an experience, as someone that's relatable, because perfection is overwhelming and we don't have time for that at 56. In our 50s, we don't have time for perfection. We don't, right? We have more years behind us than we have ahead of us. We have to live our lives and live it in reality, true reality. And that's one thing that I promised I would do on my channel. I'm not going to have all these edits and effects and stuff on my channel, these things flying in and out of my videos. No, I want to be realistic with you. I want to be conversational with you because life can change and you can feel alone really quickly. But I want this to be a safe space. I want this to be a space where we can all come together and share and cry together and laugh together. This is what I want for us. And as part of me reading the comments, there were so many that I had to delete because they were negative, they were toxic, they were not what I want for my community. So if you feel inclined to leave something negative, I will ask for your restraint, respectfully ask for your restraint. And if you still feel inclined to leave a negative, nasty, ugly comment, it will get deleted because we don't have time for that here. There's enough of that going on in the world. My little bubble here, my little space, I want this to be positive, uplifting, and encouraging. And I would appreciate your respect on that. So what is my plan, right? What is my strategy? The fact is, I don't really have a strategy. I have things that I need to do every single day. Depression is real, and I am not willing or wanting to go down that rabbit hole. So there are things that I have to do every single day because they are important. They are important for my mental health, my emotional health, and my physical health. And so what are they? The first one is I need to keep a routine. I need to keep a routine of waking up at the same time every single day, of making sure that I am eating properly, making sure that I'm eating foods that give me energy, that fuel me, that, help me heal, because stress can show up in so many different ways. Making sure that I'm mindful of what I eat so that I can sleep. So that's part of my routine, right? It's putting myself in check the minute that I wake up. Is, okay, Lissette, what are you going to wear today? What are you going to do today? I have this on because it's 100 degrees outside and it's going to be 100 degrees until the weekend. It's been over 100 degrees all week. So, I need to dress according to my day, and I have my grand puppy that I'm puppy sitting for, and she takes a lot of short walks. So I need to be dressed appropriately for that. But every day I wake up, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, I take her for a walk, right? I drink my water, I eat my healthy food, staying on top of my nutrition. I'm continuing to work out. Right now, that looks like a lot of walking because I have a little minor injury that was self-induced, not from working out, but from lifting a pot from the chair onto my deck, and I must have turned the wrong way and I pulled a tendon or ligament. I have something going on here that's very painful. So I'm not lifting right now, but again, I'm still feeling good. If I don't move my arm in a certain way, I'm okay. So I just don't move it that way. But all is well. I network now every single day with intention. LinkedIn was something that I would go on occasionally. Now is something that I go on in pockets of time throughout the day. And I dedicate 30 minutes, an hour to doing specific things on LinkedIn, right? I have my 1 hour of making connections, leaving messages, posting comments, forwarding stuff, right? And then I have another 30 minutes of just replying to comments, really just looking in for jobs. I have another 30 minutes of doing something else. So I have pocketed times that I work on in LinkedIn, and I do that for networking and also for job seeking. So it's a dual part, and it's really been working out, and I've been enjoying it. That's the part, that social media I love. So I've really gravitated to it. I'm also taking some classes in AI. I'm hoping to get certifications in that. So I'm focused on that. So again, networking with intention is important. And of course, YouTube, right? Creating content that brings me joy. And while I did that video last week and I wasn't sure if I was going to upload it or not, I am so happy that I did, because it is resonating. And I want to build on that. I want to build and not leave you hung dry, because too often we see, at least for me, I'm reading in the comments how prevalent this is. And so now what do I do, right? What do I do as a content creator to help you with that, help you through that process? And that's what's been giving me some motivation on the content that I want to bring for you. So if you have any ideas on what you would like for me to cover in one of my videos, if you have been suffering with this, if you have been suffering with unemployment, with job loss, with, being terminated or being laid off, especially for those of us in our 50s, and you need some help in an area, or you have some ideas of what content you want me to cover, please leave me a comment on that. And I can't wait to bring it to you, because this is giving me so much energy, and it has really, really brought me so much joy to know that I'm helping and I'm being of service. So again, thank you again for all of your comments that have brought this home for me. So over the next few weeks, I am going to bring you along through my process as much as I can. You guys know that although I'm transparent in terms of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, I'm still private. But I want to bring you along as much as I can through this process of finding my next career move. That may be in a brick and mortar building, at a corporate office. That may look like something else. I'm open to every single opportunity that's coming available to me. I am accepting so many brand deals. I'm reviewing a lot of them, but I'm accepting a lot as well. I'm reading all of the briefs and all of the content strategies on that, making sure it's the right fit for me and what my goals are for this channel. So I'm excited about that, and I want to bring you along. I want to bring you along for interviews and job search. And I won't actively show you what I'm searching for jobs, but I want to bring you along on my strategies and my tips and my tactics on that. So let me know in the comments what it is that you're interested in for me to cover, and I will incorporate that because it's something that I'm doing anyway. I'm sure of it. So if you want to share, that would be great. And I'm also going to bring you the highs and lows. It's not just going to be happy, go dandy and everything is, roses and unicorns. No, there are highs and there are lows in this process. And I want to make sure that I bring you along. I also want to share with you any next opportunities, because it's not just an opportunity, it's opportunities, plural. Yes, I am claiming that. I am praying on it. And that is what I'm professing. It will be opportunities because I'm opening up for it. I'm allowing time and space to make that happen. And I'm preparing myself. Like I said, I'm taking classes, I'm getting certifications because I have the time. I want to and I can. And I'm a student at heart forever. So I can't wait. I just cannot wait. If you don't sense in my excitement already, I can't wait. I can't wait for what's to come. So if you're in your 50s and you've lost your job, I want to be a source of inspiration for you. It is not over. The end is not over for us. We still have a long life to live. Yes, we have more years behind us than we have ahead of us, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to make this next third of my life be meaningful and impactful and bring me joy. I want to do things that bring me joy while still cultivating peace and calm in my life. That is what I want. And I want that for you too. So if you know of someone that's on a similar journey, if you know of someone if you yourself are on a similar journey, if you know of someone, please share this video. Please leave a comment. Let's continue to build on this community and share with each other that we're not alone, that we are truly in this together. That is all for now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until the next one, adios.